Hi, my name is Teresa, and today we'll be talking about finding balance in stress and in uncertainty. We'll be doing so by understanding safety within our bodies, its functions, and mindfulness practices. I want to express gratitude for joining this space in whatever shape or form you find yourself today, and I invite you to enter into this space in whatever way you can. An important part to understand how to find safety within our own bodies is understanding how the body functions when stressed. The vagus nerve or vagal nerves are multiple nerves expanded to and from your medulla oblongata, which is the base of your brain, up to your stomach. It controls the parasympathetic nervous system, which is directly responsible for your heart rate, your immune system, digestion, voice, blood pressure. It's often referred to and understood within the context of flight or fight, rest, and digest. The medulla oblongata has often been understood as responsible for involuntary functions, which means you don't have control of your heart rate, your blood pressure, or your immune response. This would be a survival instinct. It's something that we do unconsciously and happens without our permission. But contrary to this belief, the vagus nerve can be activated or exercised through deep breathing and bilateral physical movements, running, tapping, anything that concerns using full parts of your body, right and left, which allows us to process and regulate our heart rate, regulate our blood pressure. And so this is really important because now we have an understanding that we can in fact control the responses that we have to stress and uncertainty through deep breathing and through physical movements. This leads us to what in the field we refer to as mindfulness. Mindfulness can feel far-reaching, inaccessible to most of us, and quite frankly, due to the nature of the practice, right? It's not really a materialized reality. It's reliant on the psyche, on the unconsciousness, on things that we can't really see, but rather feel. It can feel impossible or really unattainable. But I invite you to think of mindfulness as a practice, something similar to going to the gym, but for your brain and for your mental health. When you go to the gym, the first time in maybe ever, or the first time in a long time, you're gonna have to start off with a 5 pounds, maybe not a 10 or 40 pound. And what's gonna reach you or get you to the 40 pound is consistency. It's going to be practiced most of the day with some rest in between, most days with some rest in between. And this is what mindfulness is. It's a practice that needs consistency, and the first time you do it, it can feel really difficult, really itchy and uncomfortable. And I want to acknowledge that some practices of mindfulness will feel more comfortable or less comfortable, and finding that range will definitely be the most beneficial for each unique person that is here and is using this webinar. So the outcome essentially in mindfulness is the ability to self-regulate. I would invite you to think of mindfulness as a practice where you give full attention to a present moment without any judgment attached, without any prejudice attached, without any bias. And it means being aware of what you're going through. It means being aware of the emotions you are having. the thoughts and the somatic or senses that you are attaching, right? Or feeling in that moment. I like to think of mindfulness as a traffic accident. Most of us on the road are probably not the most gracious or nicest person in the car. More often than not, we feel a sense of this phenomenon of road rage. And I want you to imagine a car rear-ending you. The first reaction is the survival instinct. It's the instinct to react, to shut down, to become overwhelmed, to think of the stress and anxiety that it would cause. Mindfulness would be the practice of taking a deep breath and thinking about, okay, now what would be the appropriate response? Should I yell at this person and rage? Or would it be more beneficial to ask for insurance, take a picture of the car, and take a moment and observe your surroundings? So mindfulness is not really a unattainable practice. Rather, it's something that we're kind of doing consciously or unconsciously sometimes, whether that be going for a nice run and being in that moment, cooking a really nice meal and spending some time thinking about the recipe and how to apply it in the best way. So mindfulness is really this practice of being in the moment. So why is mindfulness important? Mindfulness is important because it allows us to self-regulate in our own body. Self-regulate is really just a fancy way to say the body's ability to return to safety after being activated by stress and uncertainty. It allows us to manage big emotions without becoming overwhelmed, shutting down, or being reactive. So when your body is dysregulated, often you lose control or access to choice, intent, connection, logic, and reflection. You shift into survival mode, reacting from instinct and not from intention. It makes you feel like you lost control and act in ways that don't reflect who you are. Mindfulness, when practiced consistently, is really beneficial because it allows us to reduce stress, regulate our emotions, improve our focus and concentration, increase self-awareness, have better relationships, and it has amazing benefits for our mental health. It alleviates symptoms of anxiety and depression and has even been proven to help with PTSD. One way that we can start practicing mindfulness that I find very useful is the power of taking a breath. Right. In a more formalized way, the technique could be called stop. And in a quite literal way, it's an invitation before when the survival or automatic instinct hits. Because it is going to happen. Mindfulness does not mean it does not happen, rather, it is the response to the automatic instinct. So before doing or entering a reactive space or a stressful situation, or when you are in that situation, it's an invitation to stop. S is for stop, freeze. Take a breath. T is for take a step back. Maybe that looks like going for a walk, getting out of a situation. Maybe that literally looks like taking a step back. Then there's observe. Observe the context that you're in, the facts, the logic. Maybe look at colors and more concrete things that will help you feel present. And the last one is proceed mindfully. Allow yourself to make a decision, to think of all these connected and what feels like the right thing for you to do. The rest of this presentation will be mindfulness practices, so I invite you now to find a comfortable position, maybe ground your feet, find a soft gaze. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes when asked to, just center yourself and feel settled and comfortable before we move to the next slide. This practice is more based on the somatic experience. It is accessible anywhere and can be used in any situation where you may feel stressed or uncertain. It often is used to return into our own body and into the space that we find ourselves in. So as I said before, I invite you to find a comfortable position, feel settled and centered within yourself. And when you feel ready, I want you to look at your surroundings and find 5 things that you see. Be intentful and think about what you are seeing. When you have found the 5 things, I want you to listen for 4 things. What does it sound like? How are you receiving the noise? How does that feel? And when you're ready, 3 things to touch. I invite you to touch 3 things in your environment and think about receiving rather than giving. What does it feel like? Is it smooth? Is it rough? Does it have a crinkle? Be intentful. And when you're ready, 2 things that you can smell. And the last one is 1 thing that you can taste. Again, when you're ready, return back to center. This next mindfulness practice is about deep breathing. Again, I invite you to find your center, to feel settled. And before starting this exercise, I invite you to bring your 2 hands together over your stomach or your belly. And for the purpose of this exercise, follow the circle on the screen. Imagine your belly is rising with the inhale and the circle, and lowering with the exhale and the circle. I invite you to match. Inhale, exhale. And do this for about 1 minute. When you feel ready, I invite you to return back into the space. This last mindfulness exercise is an invitation to feel the warmth and brightness within yourself. This activity can be done sitting or standing. I invite you to close your eyes and imagine a warm, bright sunshine slowly filling up your body. Start at your toes, to your shins and knees, up through your thighs, into your hips, your chest, your neck, shoulders, down to your fingers, back up to your neck and ears. Feel the flow from the top of your head back to your toes. Be aware of any sensations or feelings you're having As you get higher or lower, feel the warmth, brightness, and sunshine within yourself and focus on what is going inside of you. When you're ready, I invite you to come back to center. As we wrap up, I just want to give a gentle reminder that mindfulness takes practice. It requires consistency. But be compassionate and gentle with yourself. When you first practice and start, your head is going to feel busy with thoughts and uncomfortable feelings and emotions and sensations. Sometimes we feel itchy. Sometimes it feels like something's crawling at us. It can be a challenge, and it will be a challenge. But I invite you to try to observe without reacting to these sensations, feelings, and thoughts. When you're practicing mindfulness and you get distracted, remember to gently just bring yourself back into the moment through your breath and or your body. Some of these may not have worked for you. I invite you to maybe do a little exploration. There are sound baths, there are other forms of practicing mindfulness, including physical exercise, bilateral movements, like going to the gym, running. So find what works for you, and I invite you to start today. I am grateful for the time we've spent together here, and I appreciate the amount that you've spent and invested in this webinar. Have a good day.